Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to a new video, and today I'm actually going to talk about my thoughts after having lived in Tokyo for 8 months. 8 months! The time goes so fast, it's not even funny. What the hell? For the people that don't know, I'm originally from the Netherlands. My mom's Japanese, and pretty much in a nutshell, I've always wanted to live in Japan. Finally now, at 31, I was able to make the step to come here, and at the moment I'm here on a working holiday visa, still kind of figuring out what I'll be doing next. I want to give you some thoughts about that. So this is gonna be the itinerary for today. If you want to go to the timestamps, feel free. But I hope you enjoy my ponderings, because I ponder a lot about life. If you're ready, let's jump straight into it. First question I was asking myself during my reflection time was, did my Japanese actually improve? Short answer is yes it did, but not as much as I would have liked. Yeah, so that's the short answer. I realized that simply by moving to a country does not mean you're naturally going to learn the language. I mean, now that I'm saying it, I'm like, but when I came here, I actually thought, having a foundation in Japanese, that I would naturally just pick up Japanese. Of course, in a way that makes sense, and I am learning naturally, like through my daily conversations. But what I'm trying to say is that you actually have to have an active mindset to learn. If you just go through the motion here, you might still learn nothing. And I think this especially applies to kanji. I've noticed my brain does this funny thing where when there's a lot of these posters with Japanese on it, I think the train is a good example. My brain does this thing where it goes in power saving mode and basically it blurs out everything. And I think my brain does that to protect me from getting overwhelmed and getting exhausted from seeing all the letters, because for me, they're pretty much like hieroglyphs or like Arabic or something, you know? Because my brain does that, it's very hard to learn naturally. You have to have an active mindset to actually learn. So I basically have a conversation with my brain and it goes something like this. Power saving mode. For a second, could you turn off the blur filter for a sec so I can actually see the letters and learn? It's gonna be tiring for me, but I'm okay with that because I actually want to learn. Understood. Okay, there's soda. So kind of like that, you know, and when you actually take the time, you'll see that there's actually a lot of hiragana as well, and that you know some of the kanji. It's tiring, but that's the only way to learn. So the next thought I want to be talking about is, did I have any culture shock this time around? And also culture shock living in Japan. And honestly, because I have visited Japan many times in my life, I feel like I didn't have so much culture shock this time. I think the only shocks I've really had were more Tokyo related things. And it's simply because Tokyo is just such a huge city. And if you consider that I come from the Netherlands, which is a tiny country, and you also consider that Tokyo almost has the same amount of people of the whole country of the Netherlands, which by the way I recently realized and it blew my mind, then, you know, it's not weird that I feel that way. Like, the metro network is just a spider web, and the amount of people that you encounter every day. Like, one experience I had a couple of months ago where I realized, oh my god, I think I leveled up to become a real Tokyo citizen, was when I was waiting at Takadanobaba station for my brother. I was just standing there and I remember just seeing so many people pass me by, like maybe hundreds, maybe even 1,000 people were just passing me by, and I was just standing there waiting, like in a daze. And suddenly this thought dawned on me where I was like, oh my gosh, from the time I have exited my house to Takadanobaba, I have not looked one person in the eyes. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit. You would think in a bustling city you would be looking at people, talking with people, but I'm realizing it's actually the opposite. Because there's so many people are just minding their own business. Of course, it's also just the Tokyo or the Japanese culture as well, that they're more introverted and whatever. Your brain gets desensitized to people because there are just too many people. So you just stop seeing people. Can anyone else relate? I think it's a Tokyo thing. It's just, Tokyo's just too huge, and Man, sometimes I'm in a train, I'm looking out of the window as just landscapes pass me by, and sometimes I'm just in awe of like, whoa, so many suburbs, so many people, like I'm never gonna know this place, just never. And then I think back about the Netherlands where everything was so small and I could cycle everywhere within like 2 hours, and I remember feeling too familiar in Amsterdam sometimes. I'm like, I've seen this before, oh, this is the same thing. While in Tokyo, it's the total opposite. It's like, I will never know this place. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying it's one of those things I realized, and it just kind of like, whoa, Tokyo, sugoi na. Really, wow. Another thing I'd say is that I care way more about what I'm wearing. I've lived in Australia as well, and it's just funny because I'd say in Australia, I really don't care what I wear. It's just hot every day and everyone is really laid back, and you know, it's not really a thing to be sophisticated unless you go to parties. Like I feel Australia is like, you either are super underdressed, but when you go to the party, you go all out. That's kind of how I feel about Australia. In the Netherlands, I feel it's just kind of medium. Just decent. You dress decently, but not always. And it's also not very necessary to dress up too much. You know, people will quickly think you're a tryhard, I think, if you really go all out. Japan is just on another level, and I feel sometimes because people are so well dressed, I do tend to become a bit self-conscious, and also because I'm very tall and I don't look Japanese, I sometimes feel like I stand out a lot. And then on top of that, if I don't feel I look put together that day, it can be a little bit daunting, especially when it comes to hair and makeup. I'm sometimes just like, whoa. I sometimes go to a shop or I'm at the restaurant and then I'm just looking at the girl's eyes, just perfect eye makeup. Two thoughts go through my mind in that moment. Number one is, how did you even create this eye makeup look? Can you please teach me? And number two is, how is it still intact? How is it still in pristine condition? Like, I cannot wrap my head around it. Like, I don't know. Even in 38 degrees, it does not matter. I will see people dressed up full in gothic Lolita, or with those knitted arm socks, or untouched perfect hair. I sometimes just do not understand how it's possible, because I'm not able to achieve that yet. Okay, next thoughts, Japanese apartments. Yes, let's go. This is my first Japanese apartment. There are definitely things where I'm like, why don't we have this in the Netherlands? Like, what the hell? One thing is that you have these metal things that stick out of the wall at the balcony, and you can put a pole there to hang your laundry. And I find this very, very useful and smart. It can be the most crappiest apartment, and I look at their balconies and they will have this. In the Netherlands, we always have to buy these like weird, what are they even called? Those laundry racks. And I don't like them. I have so many memories of them just flying away, breaking, chipping, whatever. It doesn't make sense to me. I feel like it's very universally thought out. That also counts for the sink. Really like how you have that round thing that you can remove, and there's this little basket in there, so you can put your food waste in there and let it get rinsed before you put it in your bin, which helps with the smell of the food. Lastly, of course, Japanese toilets. They're awesome, but I think everybody knows by now, so I'm not gonna elaborate. But sorry to be a wet blanket right now, but there are definitely some things that I also just can't stand about living in Japanese apartments. And I know it's not every apartment, but I know many apartments are like this. And basically, you have to embrace the aircon lifestyle. And let me tell you something, I do not like the Japanese aircon lifestyle. I've had so many issues. In the winter time, right? There's no central heating in your apartment, so you can only rely on your aircon. You don't have to go out camping in the winter time to experience what it feels like to camp in a tent in the winter time. Because just by being in your apartment, you will experience that. It's freezing cold.
There's like nothing you can do. You're not allowed to keep the aircon on during the night. It's not good for your body, right? So you turn it off, but then during the night you're just freezing.
So I remember just waking up and I'm just like, why is my nose cold?
You know what I mean? And you just feel miserable. You do not want to get out of bed. This is an experience I'm not used to.
Coming from the Netherlands, where we have central heating, I know there's reasons for why there's no central heating. I guess especially in Tokyo, it's just not so necessary because the wintertime is quite short and it doesn't become super cold in Tokyo. They are much more concerned about when it becomes hot and how to, you know, keep out the humidity in the house and stuff. That's way more important for Japanese apartments. So I get it, but that has been a big struggle for me. I don't know if anyone else can relate. Please let me know in the comment section below. Do I feel homesick? Well, not as much as I would have thought. I didn't make a video for nothing called I was homesick, so I made Dutch hotspot in Japan. Of course, there are things that I miss from home. Coming to Japan has been a dream of mine since I'm 16 years old. So finally just doing that, living that dream. It represents getting to know more about my identity. It represents my independence because this is actually my first time living by myself. So I'm really enjoying it, and Japan allows me to do that because in the Netherlands I wouldn't be able to rent an apartment and live by myself because the housing crisis is kind of crazy. Here in Japan I'm able to have my own apartment. I feel super lucky about that and have been loving living by myself, and I feel I'm riding a really good wave right now where I'm just learning a lot about myself and allowing myself to try different things and taking it a step at a time at the same time, you know. But there are definitely some particular things that I miss from the Netherlands, but I'm actually planning on making a video about that, so stay tuned for what I miss from the Netherlands. Coming up. Okay, last question. I get this question from my friends all the time, so I thought I'd put it in this video. And it's basically, do I see myself living in Japan? When I ponder about this, the first thing that comes to my mind is only time will tell. What I can say is that I feel 1 year will be too little. I think at least 2 years. Me in the present moment does feel that I do see myself living here, and it's because I feel very at home in Japan. I feel very safe. I resonate with many things here. I feel in my natural habitat. Obviously there are things that I maybe don't fit in here, but at the moment I've just been feeling mainly positive things about being here. So I definitely see myself living here. But I've become more accepting of change recently. So I don't put all my eggs in one basket anymore as I used to in my life. So the possibility of me living here is definitely there. But the possibility of me going back to Netherlands or moving to another country is also open, you know? I just want to allow myself to just feel and experience and really consider what's best for me. At the moment I feel happy here. So I want to ride that momentum and keep going. I think I pondered everything I wanted to ponder. Yeah. I'm satisfied. I feel empty now in a good way, you know? I feel like I let it all out. I guess we've reached the end of the video. I hope that these thoughts, these ponderings were interesting. Are you in similar position as me? Have you moved countries recently? Are you thinking about moving countries? Do you live in Tokyo as well? Let me know in the comment section below, and thank you very much for listening. It means a lot. See you in my next one. Bye bye!